Hello, my name is James Thorpe and I'm the Managing Editor of International Security Journal. Delighted to be here today on the Xtract One technology stand here at ISC West 2026, speaking with Joshua Douglas, who is the Senior Vice President of Products and Engineering. Enjoy the video. Joshua, great to be speaking with you today at ISC West. Can you just tell our viewers a little bit about what you've been showcasing this week?
Yeah, thanks for having us here, and we're excited to be at ISC West 2026. This week, we've actually been showing off some new add-ons for our smart gateway. We have a vision mount that allows them to put any of their standard dome cameras in on top, which means they can connect to their video management systems. We also have a brand new mat that's right near your feet there that is like super awesome because now we get complete alignment. We also have a brand new battery pack solution, so that way if any of our customers want to roll it out without having power. And then lastly, we've also come out with a brand new stand, which we've been getting a lot of feedback from the UK and European markets that they really are enjoying this further back than just paying attention to the screen on the Smart Gateway.
Fantastic, and obviously the reason for giving these add-ons and having these additional features is to address challenges. So if we look at the screening market specifically, what kind of challenges are you looking to address as a business?
Yeah, I think that at least from looking in the UK and the European markets where we've been out heavily, they may have some limited staff and they want to be able to push them further back away from the unit or be able to look at a couple of them at the same time. So that's why they enjoy the stands many times. The mat allows them to have very simple and quick alignment, so that way it never gets out of space. So that way they can detect things like knives and guns, all in the same unit, the Smart Gateway.
Fantastic. And if we look at the kind of the bigger picture, I guess, in terms of detection and screening technology, you have, I think a lot of people will know, obviously, the feeling of going through a traditional metal detector, but you approach it with AI as well. What does that look like in practice, using AI for screening?
Yeah, so, I mean, the hardest thing for anybody to do is something complicated, right? And that's what we do with AI. We basically take that complication out. Allow people to keep things in their pockets and be able to tell the difference between a knife and a gun, and be able to have people save their privacy and get people through as quickly as possible.
So the British Museum selected Smart Gateway to secure its entrances. Can you just tell us about the importance of this project, but also how you're providing product differently in the European market specifically?
Yeah, that's a great question. We happen to be one of the few products on the market that can tell the difference between a gun and a knife and do that effectively. What I believe that the British Museum found in working with them is that we were able to work in a multitude of ways, both outside and inside, and we could detect the knives, which is a major problem, especially when you think about Martin's Law coming into play into the UK. So we were compared against several other products, and we came out on top, and I think that speaks a lot, especially for some place that protects the Rosetta Stone.
Obviously, with Martin's Law coming into the UK and very soon, it focuses on programs rather than technology. How does this mean, venues have to manage their approaches differently, and that in relation to your technologies as well?
It's a great question, and it's part of why we don't tell customers that technology alone is going to solve the problem. Yeah. It's why we spend time with them, training them. In fact, we do a lot of training. Even during the demo process with the British Museum, I spent 2 days on site training their staff, not only about primary security screening, but also secondary security screening. And then after they became a customer, we had an entire training program to get all of their staff in place and make sure that their processes are also nailed down. Because at the end of the day, we do want those advocates. We want people that are going to be able to use the product effectively and get good results.
Yeah, fantastic. And obviously when we look at that effectiveness, we're here in America, but we're talking about the UK as well. How do your approaches differ for North America versus the UK and Europe?
Well, it's a great question because we have two different products. One that I think is probably more geared towards the U.S. markets, really focuses on mass casualty. And then we have the Smart Gateway that does fit into some of the pieces here inside the U.S. When we think about things like NBA and NHL games. Yeah. However, there's not a lot of products on the market that can handle those things, and thinking about small knives and, bladed weapons, they're going to end up impacting people that we're seeing those kind of events happen in the UK and Europe. And that's why I think that we have a different approach. We also think about the customer on the other end and why we perform a lot of training, because we want to work within their culture.
Yeah, fantastic. And finally, when we're talking about creating these, I guess, more seamless experiences in the world of screening, I mean, it's important to have that throughput, but also not put people off, I guess, the experience of passing through security. How do you balance that kind of efficiency whilst making sure you have that total security element?
Yeah, it's a great question. As you can see, the Smart Gateway does not necessarily look like what you would consider to be a security product. And that's one way, is we don't make it look like a security product. We make it simple to use, so that way anybody can come up off the street, and once they see it, they can tell quickly if it's an alert or if it's not. And we make it so that every person feels safe, as well as their privacy being kept. That's why we try to make sure that nobody has to pull as much out of their pockets as possible.
Fantastic. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. Appreciate
Cheers.
it.